All right, we are live. Beauty Mind Monday. How you doing, Allison?
I'm good. I'm doing our webinar from the salon today, so you're probably going to hear some commotion outside of my office door. Everyone's getting set up for a class, so
Awesome.
environment today.
Keeping it busy. That's what I love about the beauty industry, having Sunday, Monday off. It really allows you to set the tone for the whole week, and that's why we do these on Monday as well most of the time. And today we're going to be talking about Q2 goal setting.
Yes. Yeah. And so like in my salon and hopefully in a lot of the salons who watch these, they do one-on-ones with their team. If you don't and you're a salon owner, you definitely want to consider doing one-on-ones with your team monthly. You know, a lot of salon owners do one-on-ones every quarter or maybe like every other month, like whenever they have time. But for me, I think it's really important to do the one-on-ones every single month at the beginning of the month to go over the month before and to plan for the month ahead. So, depending on how the week falls, I typically will do it in the first week of the month. And like I said, we'll reflect on the month before and then plan for the month ahead. I have definitely had times where I couldn't do it in the first week because of my travel schedule. And my team will always say, like, when can we do our meetings? Because they love doing the one-on-ones. So if you're a salon owner watching this, please start doing one-on-ones with your team. This webinar is going to kind of reflect how I do my one-on-ones. It's going to go over all the things that we talk about in one-on-ones, and you can kind of pull from that, but then also apply it to your life as well as a salon owner or as someone behind the chair.
Absolutely. And these are the type of things that once you do them and you realize how beneficial they are for you to align with your team, sure everyone's on the same page, to answer any questions, to do whatever you need to do to continue staying on the right track. And once you do them, you wonder how you ever even lived life not doing them in the past.
Yeah, so, I just had a stylist return to our team after not working for us for the last couple of years. And she was like, the salon that I was at, like, never did one-on-ones. I think she said she worked there for a year and she only had one-on-one. And I was like, I love hearing that. That's music to my ears, because sometimes as a salon owner, we feel like we're like, nagging our team. Like sometimes it's just like, you feel like, do they like this coaching? Do they like these one-on-ones? But responses like that or feedback like that makes me realize that they do love them and they need them. They like the structure.
Yeah, everyone needs that. That structure it's game changing. And if you actually want to elevate your salon and your career as a beauty professional, you have to stay aligned and be holding yourself accountable daily. But these type of meetings, monthly and quarterly, is so absolutely necessary.
Yeah. So diving in, the first thing that we always think about is our financial goals, because without knowing what our financial goals are, we don't really know what we have to start doing in our outside of the salon life and our in the salon life to align with those goals. So my question for my stylist is always like, how much money do you want to make this year? And then we break that down to the month. But for the sake of today's webinar being about second quarter, I would say, what do you want your income to look like this quarter? So for someone who has just started doing hair, they're fresh out of beauty school, they don't have a whole lot of clientele, but they're starting to build their books. Maybe they have a few clients a week, and maybe they're in a training program, or maybe they're going through an assisting program. I would say for that, you want your goal to be realistic and achievable, but not too easy. So I would say something like 5,000 a month would be a good place to start, which would be 15,000 for the quarter. Now, if you've been in the industry for 5-6 years and you have a pretty steady book and you're doing, say, $12,000 a month, then I would say, and that's probably someone who works full-time with an assistant, but maybe not. Maybe you're doing $8,000 a month behind the chair on your own. You want to multiply that by 3, and that would be your second quarter goal. So maybe it's, say, 25,000 is your second quarter goal. And you're going to break that down to the month. After you've decided what your second quarter goal, financial goal is going to be, you're going to now break that down to the month and to the week. So you really want to know exactly what your goal is. Break it down so that it is a lot more realistic and a lot more achievable. Because, you say $25,000, you're like, it's $25,000. Like, well, $25,000 4 times a year, that's $100,000. I don't know if I can hit that. But when you break it down to the week and then to the day, it's very achievable, especially if you're doing high ticket services like extensions or color transformations. So That would be your first step, deciding what your second quarter goal is going to be. And you want it to be higher than what you already do without trying. So if you're doing, like I said, if you're a new stylist and let's say you're doing about $4,000 a week, set that goal at 5,000. Or I'm sorry, 4,000 a month. Set that goal at 5,000 and now multiply that by 3 for your second quarter goal, so 15,000. Okay, so that's going to be the first thing that you're going to do. And then for retail sales, you want your goal to be 15% of your service sales at least. So I actually recommend 18% if you have no trouble selling retail. But if you are someone who struggles to sell retail or to send your clients home with take home, I should say, because a lot of stylists say, like, I'm not a salesperson. And that's kind of like their ticket out of why they don't sell retail. But you're not a salesperson. We get that. You are a beauty professional. So for recommending products for your clients to take home, you want that to be at least 15% of your service sales. And then you're going to, do that math every day to see if you're hitting your goal. And you definitely want to be checking in with those goals daily as well.
Yeah, and if you are someone who is having difficulties selling retail, or number one, I think your perspective is just probably off, and there's a different way, a different perspective to have to ensure that you can hit that goal. But we've done, I think, past webinars about this on our YouTube. You can go all the way down and you can see our retail excellence class that we did with 11 Australia. These type of things are going to get you ready so that you can do what you need to do, set the proper mindset to actually hit that RTS. And then you'll see that it's not as scary as you thought. And then it just becomes regular. It just becomes part of the process, and your sales are going to continue to increase at that point.
Exactly. And like we've been talking about a lot is how rebooking your clients or pre-booking or setting them up for their next reservation, however you want to look at getting your client scheduled for your next appointment. We talk about the correlation between rebooking and retail sales. And the reason that clients are not buying retail in the salons like they used to could just be that they're not in your salon enough, but they are at all these other stores, all these other big box retailers picking up their hair product. So the next thing I would do is set a pre-booking goal. And for someone who is new on the floor, that should be more like 50%. And for someone who has been in the industry for a long time, then their goal should be more like 70, 80%. And that's a supply and demand thing. So that's not always experience, but for the sake of me not knowing who's going to be watching this, we'll just talk about experience, assuming that if they've been in the hair industry longer or the beauty industry longer, that they have more clientele and more demand on their time. However, if you've moved to a new state and you've started over, then that doesn't apply to you. Then you do need to be looking at those smaller goals as you build your clientele back up in your new location. So again, just to reiterate that, if you're newer in the industry or your books are not quite as full, you're doing more like $5,000 a month, your pre-booking goal should be about 50%. And if you are doing $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 a month behind the chair, your pre-booking goal should be 70 to 80%. And I think it kind of goes without being said why your pre-booking goal is higher when you have a higher demand on your time. But just to break it down for you, I mean, your books are busier and you need to ensure that your clients are getting back in. Otherwise, you're going to lose clients because you are obviously doing that high of ticket sales because you're busy and in demand. And if you don't get those people pre-booked, you will start to lose them. So not relying on online booking to get those people back in your chair, but actually scheduling them before you take the cape off and before you send them on their way after their appointment. So that would be the second thing that we really, really focus on in our wrap meetings. And anytime I'm doing a one-on-one with a salon owner, whether it be for their team or a hairstylist or an esthetician, pre-booking is so, so important. And the more you see clients, the more retail they're going to buy in your salon. And again, I think that goes without being said, but they're in your salon, it's more convenient for them to purchase. However, if they're not returning to your salon frequently, every 4 weeks, every 6 weeks, every 8 weeks, then they will be forced to buy retail somewhere else out of convenience. And we all know that convenience is really everything, whether they're ordering something off Amazon that shows up at their doorstep the next day, or they're just at Sephora and they've, been carrying a new line that they're seeing all over the internet, they're going to buy it there. Really important to get those clients back into the salon. So that's the second thing that we really focus on, or I guess you could say third thing that we really focus on in our wrap meetings. And then we're going to focus on social media, because if you've got this financial goal for your services and your retail sales, and you've got a pre-booking goal, now you need to think about how you're performing online to promote yourself to get clients in the salon, whether that be existing clients coming back or new clients sitting in your chair. So at this point, you know what you want your goal to be, you know what you actually do behind the chair or in the esthetician room. And now you need to figure out how you're going to hit your goal. The first thing that people think of is usually, I need more clients. That's not always the case. A lot of times it's just that you need to see your clients more frequently. But if the case is that you need to find more clients, you need to be performing on social media in a way that's going to attract new clients. Or if your goal is to see your clients more frequently, or to use the clients that you already have to build more services onto their ticket, then you need to be performing on social media in a way that gets them attracted to get services in your salon that they aren't already getting. So all of that plays into how you're promoting yourself on social media and the content that you're going to create. So now we would talk about developing some sort of content plan, how you're going to align your social media to help you hit your in salon goals.
Yeah, and we need these. That's why we need these monthly and quarterly meetings, because it's so easy to get caught up in chaos. January, February, March. What you've kind of thrusted yourself into this year, and staying busy, trying to do everything, but having a clear target and like really resetting, focusing on these goals and seeing what you've done well the last quarter, but what you can really improve on as well. And the odds are you probably, social media, there's some improvements that you can make. And as Allison just mentioned, whether you're introducing new services or just attracting new clientele, you want to be clear what you're doing. How can you maximize your current clientele? How can you attract new clientele? You really want to maximize everything that you're doing. And by resetting this at the top of the quarter, things can change dramatically in the next month or 3 months.
Yeah, definitely. And the first part of the year is all about new year, new you, right? Like we're all inspired to like have this new year and these new goals and to up our, level up in our lives, personal lives, business lives, all of that. The second quarter, things have kind of settled a little bit, right? We are kind of, maybe we've settled back into our old ways. Maybe we have upped the ante and maybe we're like actually really are hitting our goals and doing really, really well. Maybe we're still carrying on this excitement from it being a new year. But the second quarter of the year is interesting because you're transitioning from like the winter depression if you're in a colder state. And I don't know, maybe I'm just speaking for like people in Michigan, but we all experience this kind of like lull in the winter time where it's not as fun to take content. It gets dark early and you do this beautiful blonde transformation and then you can't even capture it because the sun's already down. And I just kind of like you leave work and it's dark outside and then all of a sudden it transitions into spring and you get this like personality back. Again, maybe I'm just speaking for myself, but it starts to transition into a warmer time and you do get a little bit more inspired. I mean, I've seen it in my salons every year for the last 17, 18 years. You get this dose of energy that makes you want to start creating content again and talk a lot of times in the car I'll do more content when I'm in my car sitting like in the parking lot when I leave work or sitting in the pickup line to get my kids in the spring and the summertime because the sun's out and I'm in a good mood and I feel like it. But in the wintertime sometimes it can be like, ugh, I don't really feel like doing this right now. So it's really interesting that transition into spring. If you are in a colder state, you just feel better about creating content around this time. And that's a beautiful thing. And then the other part about it transitioning into spring is you've got graduation parties or graduation events and things like that people are going to be coming in to get. You've got Father's Day, you've got Mother's Day, you've got what else? You've got all these things that happen at the end of the school year for kids and family photos that people are scheduling because the weather's nice outside again. So you've got all these things that you can build into your content, that you can build into promotions if you're going to run some promotions. In the past, we've always done things like moms, dads, and grads. That's like a promotion that we've ran a lot, where if they purchase a retail product, they get entered into win. We've done all kinds of things. We've done Yeti coolers, we've done Apple Watches, we've done iPads. We've given away all kinds of things, but we build it around a moms, dads, and grads promo because this time of year there's so much things going on that you can get people excited about winning things and booking things and buying things. So I think it's important to keep in mind that all of the things that these big retailers do right and all these corporate companies are doing, apply them to your small businesses. They do them for a reason. So everywhere you go at this time of year, you'll see promotions built around Father's Day, Mother's Day, graduation. Build those into your social media, build those into your in salon promos and use them to help you create more content.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that would be kind of like your social media, your promotions, building your goals around that for the second quarter. And it's important to track these things. So one mistake that I see salons do is they run these things, but there's no method of tracking to see if they worked. And that's really, really, really important. So you want to make sure that you've got coupon codes that you can put into your software that you're using to track whether these promotions are working. If you're running ads or if you're running promotions on your social media stories, everybody wants to give away, $20 off if you book this appointment on stories, but there's no way to really track if that's even working, if people are even doing that. So it's really important to use your software system to build in those promo codes and things like that so you can actually track to see if what you're doing is working. So if you're running an ad on social media or if you're running like some sort of coupon, and I hate the word coupon, but if you're running some sort of special on stories to fill your books, make sure you're building that into your software so that you can actually track it when the quarter's over. So you can see if it worked. And if it did work, do it again. And if it didn't work, scratch it and try something new. If no one got excited about it, no one booked it, then you know that you need to do something differently. So that would be kind of like the whole, I would say, like business umbrella of goals for the second quarter. You've got your financial behind the chair goals, you've got your retail goals, you've got your social media goals, and your promos. If you're going to do promotions in your salons, you've got those goals. Now it's really important to focus on your mindset for the second quarter. And again, I think springtime is a good time to focus on your mindset because if you're anything like me, you're getting your personality back. You're
Yeah,
sucking.
I think all your clients are too, right? Like everybody is like
Exactly.
finally feel like they've found their stride within the year by quarter two.
I can't believe how full our books are right now compared to the last few months. I mean, I can believe it because I've seen it over and over and over again in business. But
Yeah.
I'm really like, I looked at the schedule when I got in today and I'm like, yes, highlights everywhere. Everyone wants to be blonde right now. I want to be blonde right now. So yeah, it's that time of year that your clients are kind of feeling better too. And depending on where you are in the world and when the kids get out of school, sometimes parents' schedules open up a little bit in the summer or in the springtime. They've got spring break. People want to get highlights before they go on spring break vacation. They want their kids to get a haircut before they go visit family for spring break. You got all these things that you can do around springtime that makes all of these things funner to do. All these business
Yeah.
things a little bit more exciting to do. But yeah, so once you've got all those business goals in mind, then I think it's really important to focus on that mindset and make sure that you're taking care of yourself as well. Um, so, planning if you're going to take some time off, plan that. Plan it into your schedule. Don't just let things happen as they happen. Plan them because if you plan these things, if you plan time off, if you say, you know what, I have a friend who actually she wouldn't even go anywhere. She would just plan random days off into her schedule. And I always like really admired that because I feel like for most of my career behind the chair, I didn't travel because I felt like I really couldn't. And if I did have a schedule or vacation planned, I would have like a week off randomly and I would schedule it way off. But she actually would just schedule random days off, kind of like, I don't know, I guess you could call them mental health days, right? Just like randomly in her schedule to take a long weekend every once in a while. Maybe not to go anywhere, but just to like focus on her personal life or do something with her family for a little, random day off or a long weekend, staycation. But I think it's really important to just plan joy into our lives and not just let life happen to us every single week because you end up just like falling into this stagnant pattern of like, all right, Tuesday morning, I go to work, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And then Saturday, you get off work, you're exhausted because you've just worked all week. And now you've got Sunday to like do laundry and recoup. If you're anything like me, for most of my career, I was so exhausted on my day off, I couldn't even enjoy it because I was working 8 to 10 hours behind the chair all week long, not focusing on myself. And then the weekend would come around and I'd be like, don't schedule me any plans. I'm not going anywhere. If I did have plans, I was probably canceling them. And most of the time I had a migraine because I was suffering from those too, from being so busy and stressed. And then near the end of my career, when I started working a 6-hour work week or 32-hour work week, but 6-hour work days, it was so much easier to enjoy work because I wasn't resenting going because I wasn't there all the time. So really, really important to like rethink your schedule, rethink your personal time, plan joy into your life, check in with yourself. It's not all about the money and the retail sales and the pre-booking and all of that. It's not all about that. We have to be happy with ourselves too. I've seen it a lot. And a lot of people, because they focus so much on the numbers behind their business, they end up resenting their business and resenting showing up for their clients, resenting showing up for their team or their coworkers because they're just like there all the time and their head is spinning and they're stressed and they don't focus on themselves. So plan the massage, plan the spa appointments, plan time with your friends, plan time with your family, take a random day off, go on vacation, plan these things into your second quarter so that you can have a successful second quarter of the year.
Yeah. And you're being intentional about your numbers and your social media and all of that to allow you the freedom to be able to do these type of things too. So if you're being intentional about the time you're actually working, it's going to afford you the luxury of taking more time off when necessary as well. So intentional is our word of the year. And so if you are being intentional about your books, about your services, about maximizing every component, you do want to maximize your wellness as well. And Allison, I know we got about 2 minutes left. So how are we wrapping this up?
Yeah. So the last thing I would say is don't forget to check in with your goals because it's really fun to set goals, but now you have to check in with them. So check in with them weekly for yourself. Check in with them, every other week if you're feeling like you're on track and you want to see how close you are. A lot of times my team will ask me like, hey, we're 2 weeks into the month. Can you check on my goals and see how I'm doing? They're really good at using their Elevate planner. So a lot of them already know how they're doing, but they do like to kind of check in, maybe like just a quick 5-minute check-in, sometimes mid-month. And but what is most important is to check in at the end of the month and see how you did. So that's always my favorite time is checking in the wrap meetings. Like I said, we do them on the first week of the month, very, very close to the beginning of the month, so that we can reflect on the month before and plan for the month ahead. So that would be the last thing. You want to check on your service sales, check on your retail goals, check on your pre-booking goals. Those are the number 3 most important things that we focus on for our service providers. Not necessarily salon owner things, but service provider things. So your lash artists, your estheticians, your hairstylists, and check in and see how it's going.
Amazing, love it, love the structure, and we do these every Monday because we want to check in with you all as well to ensure that you are staying on track on every single one of these things. So keep holding yourselves accountable. If you are not part of the Beauty Mind community already, you can click the link in our description in YouTube and join us there or see it on our website. And we'll see you next week.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Have a good day. Peace out.